What is going on, my YouTube family? Sergeant Graybeard at Graybeard Gaming Group. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, and as always, I hope this message finds you healthy and safe. If you are new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to be a part of what we're doing here, and if you found this video helpful in any way at all, please hit that like button. It really helps us out. One final thing before we begin. As you can see in the screen, we are currently having a giveaway for either a $100 gift card to the Xbox or PlayStation Store, depending on which console you're running. All you need to do to be eligible to win is subscribe to our channel here and also follow us on Twitter, as that's the easiest way for us to get in touch with the winners. We will be announcing the winner on August 15th of this year, and as I've said in every previous video, watching our content is not a requirement to win. Watch what you choose to watch. Having said that, let's get into farming for the Bullet King. So first of all, let me start off by saying I'm so sorry it took me so long to get you guys this video. You know, this is an updated version of something we did a while back, and obviously a lot has changed in the game since we made one of these before. One of the things we like to do at our channel is make sure we can show you all the stuff we're talking about, because we want to make sure we've actually discovered it before we go and tell you to give something a try. Now, those of you that have seen my previous videos are probably going to hear some of the same stuff you heard before. For that, I apologize, but again, this is the most efficient way we have found to get the Bullet King. Now, we will go into the specific drops as we show you them on the screen, but first of all, one of the most important aspects of doing this is make sure you are constantly changing the difficulty when you're trying certain attempts. And that really holds true, especially for missions. You know, sometimes if you're going after, a named enemy, you can try a few times in heroic or this or that, but with missions, we have found the most consistent way to get items to drop is to change difficulty. Now, so far for us, we've had the most success getting the Bullet King to drop in New York. I know it drops in DC, but for some reason, it's totally eluded us there. So for the first drop I'm showing you, we are in Wall Street, which is in New York, and we are, well, obviously it's in New York. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, you can see my shade level is at 779, and I bring that up for a reason. You'll see once I beat the main boss that I do not get the Bullet King. And again, I think from this defeat, I wound up going to shade level 780. It was either at this attempt or when I started the next attempt, which we'll get to in a second. Now you can see here on heroic, it took just over 20 minutes. And again, no Bullet King, no luck there. So what I did is I actually changed the difficulty from heroic to normal. Now, once again, I'm going to point. You can't see me pointing. I'm actually pointing at the TV. Anyway, you can see my shade level is at 780. So I am up one shade level, but that's because, I went from that mission. I just did these again. I did these in succession, and all I did was change the difficulty to normal, and as you can see, the Bullet King dropped. Now, please keep in mind, this does not happen every time you attempt this, but what I have found is that I usually run a mission 2, maybe 3 times in a row at most, and then I get totally burnt out. However, what I choose to do, again, is change that difficulty because, look, we already have the Bullet King. So what I'm trying to do is find the best way to have you guys get this as well, because I know for a lot of players out there, it has completely eluded them for the entire length of the game. The next drop we have is in the Dark Zone, which I personally don't like going to, but it is a great place to farm for exotics, especially when what you're looking for is the targeted loot. Now, it was a normal landmark, and the NPC that dropped the Bullet King was not named. So again, you can have this drop at any time, and again, the Dark Zone seems to be a pretty decent place to get these items. The question is, are you able to get out with them? And that's the part I don't like. Next, we want to talk about when the light machine gun is the targeted loot in a certain area. So not behind a mission, but in an actual area itself, as we'll show you on the map real quick. Reason being is not only do you have control points to go after, but you also have named enemies that spawn every 30 minutes, and that's what we're going to get into right now. So for me, personally, the area that's marked on the map right now that I'm going to is my favorite farming spot in New York. You guys have probably seen my stuff on Lady Death, and this is just where I seem to find all of the items I'm looking for when I'm in New York. Now you can see in the screen that I'm doing heroic difficulty, and when I defeat the boss, obviously, no, well, not obviously, it's not obvious yet, but it will be in a second that the Bullet King does not drop. Therefore, what I do at this point, once I realize I don't get the weapon, is I hit a timer, 30 minutes, I make sure I change the world difficulty, then go back to the same spot again because, it's a spot that I like going to. More importantly, however, this named enemy location has the light machine gun as the targeted loot for the day. And again, you can see in the corner my shade level is still at 782. This was my next attempt 30 minutes later, and thankfully, once again, the Bullet King was able to drop. And as we finish the video, I want to give you one quick recap of everything, just to give you a few more tips, to really try to help you out. So first of all, as I mentioned earlier, we have not had any luck to get the Bullet King to drop for us in DC. Now, I know it does drop there. We've heard from lots of players, lots of other gamers, stuff like that. We've seen all the footage online. But for us, finding the Bullet King in New York seems to be the best way and the most effective way for the weapon to drop. Secondly, all this footage is less than a week old, which is good because Title Update 10.1 actually launched yesterday, so that could help improve your chances of getting better loot. Now, unfortunately, it does not increase the chance of an exotic weapon dropping, but it does increase the chance, for instance, that you get an LMG when you're hunting for one, not, a rifle instead. I cannot tell you how many times you've heard from players saying, I was farming LMG, targeted loot, and, an exotic dropped, and I was excited, and it was the chest piece, and I was so pissed off. So now, hopefully, with Title Update 10.1, that shouldn't happen anymore, so the actual targeted loot you're shooting for will be the actual loot that drops. Another thing we strongly suggest, if possible and if you're able to, is if you're running control points in an area where the LMG is targeted loot, try to do that area on heroic. Reason being, as you've heard me say before, control points under heroic difficulty have 2 named bosses at the location. One thing we suggest is, if heroic is a little too difficult for you, set the map to heroic, call for backup, and then call a second time for backup if you need to. That way you have a squad with you and your chances are better. And one final thing we recommend is that if you're going to a named enemy location, when you get there, first off, make sure there's no world event happening, like, an elite patrol or a, propaganda broadcast, things like that. If you check the map and that's happening, what we recommend doing is, resetting the control points, checking the map again, and making sure whatever world event was there is no longer there. One more thing we recommend is that when you're going after named bosses and you get to a named boss location, first of all, scout it out to make sure the boss is actually there. We all know that certain locations always have a named boss. For some reason, sometimes they haven't spawned there as yet. So if you get there and there's no one there, reset the control points, rinse and repeat, and keep going back to that spot until they're actually there. We actually have a previous video that we put up a while back that shows some of the named boss locations in both DC and New York that happen to be our favorite ones because they seem to be the most consistent. And having said all of that, that is pretty much going to do it for this video, my friends. I want to once again thank you all so much for helping our channel grow at such a rapid rate. You guys are absolutely amazing. I mean, we're closing in on 2,000 subscribers, which I can't believe. I mean, to say that word just out loud, it's just insane. Like, you guys have been so supportive, and we are forever thankful and will continue to bring you the best content we possibly can. Most importantly, as always, take care, be kind. Please leave any questions or comments you have down below. We try to answer everything we can. And again, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to chatting with you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Checking for the key card. Looks like that key card is the one we were looking for. Wonder what that unlocks. Keep an eye out.